Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Golden State Media Concept Sci-Fi Podcast. I got a pretty fun show. It's going to be pretty much a DC-centered show. For those of you who don't know, DC is the other publisher than Marvel. Trying to break into the film universe here. Just recently had the big team-up, Batman vs. Superman, and just not too long ago came out with the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, which included about 30 minutes of extra footage. I peeped it, I watched it, I bought it. Now, I already like the original version of this movie. I know a lot of where they're going to go with it. A lot of people seemed kind of confused by the movie. A lot of people were kind of irked by the whole Martha thing. I thought it was a time saver. Now, let me talk to you about the Martha thing first before I go into the other point of contention a lot of people have. There had to be something in the movie that was going to humanize Superman in a way to Bruce Wayne that would not see him as being this potential world ender. Bruce Wayne had already been witness to the good things that he had been doing. Superman just being a good guy and doing good deeds was not enough for him. Because the concept or idea was, at any point that he decides to not do these good things, then there's nothing we can do to stop him from doing those bad things. Something had to be done to make him realize that it's not just one or the other with him. And while they think that the Martha thing was this thing that was reached down and thrown in there to quickly resolve something merely out of coincidence, I thought that it helped in the movie. And it was something that was developed throughout the film about Bruce's feelings towards his family. And that was played upon. So when he comes to find out that this person that he's been afraid of and that he's been angry with has a human mom, and her name is Martha, the same as Bruce. He kind of sees himself in that. That's really what that part of the movie was about, was seeing himself in this person. And he wasn't going to go down the path that he had described to Alfred. Remember in the movie he says that after 20 years in Gotham, how many good guys are left? How many stayed that way? And he had seen the turn, which will probably come out in later films, of what happened with those characters. But if he can recognize that same thing in Superman, then he has to realize that he can't go to that side, that he can't be the one that will turn and not remain good. I didn't mind that part. I was like, okay, now they're on the same side. Let's keep going here. But a lot of people want to complain about it, and it's whatever, can't stop them. Some people complain that the movie took itself too seriously, that it was too serious. Well, there's a lot of serious stuff going on. It was a lot of contention about, and this was a world that had come across alien life, and now they're dealing with it in a very immediate way. It wasn't like Independence Day, where now we're seeing 20 years later the payoff. And it's nothing like the Marvel movies, where it seems like everything just went back to normal after an alien invasion. They really got into the nitty-gritty about, we don't know enough about this guy, and we want to know, and Batman just being driven. And I didn't think the seriousness was a big issue either. But that led to what people thought was a glaring issue with the non-serious person, and that is Lex Luthor, and of Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor. And again, I'm going to defend it. And there's some articles on the interwebs that had come out and saying that it was too distracting, that the little whimpers and gestures and all this stuff was just too distracting from the character, but everything else built up about the character was good. I thought the performance was great. I get it. You know, in one part where he actually comes face to face with Superman, and he delivers the line about God is tribal, God takes sides, and no God delivered him from his father and the atrocities. I mean, we're looking at a character who was probably physically abused as a child. And when you're physically abused, sometimes you can develop those types of things. You can have those little things off about you as you get older. And this was something that if you want to talk about the whimpers and how really just how weak he is, that, yeah, everything in that movie showed him being physically powerless. And it goes back to what Alfred said. The feeling of powerlessness, that's where it starts. The fever that turns good man cruel. Although you could argue that Lex was never a good man. Although he's trying to be the savior of humanity in this case by getting rid of Superman or Batman. Or Batman. But I liked that aspect of him. I liked that he was so weak. And that his power derived from his intelligence and the ability to manipulate others. Look at, his plan was not to kill Superman himself. Remember, his original plan was to manipulate Batman and Superman up to they would fight and hopefully kill each other. When that didn't work, he created Doomsday. Again, he not going to kill Superman. Hey, I'm just going to let someone else do it. That's what I do. I let someone else do it. And when he has that power, this is one of the articles that they pointed out, when he put the Jolly Rancher in the guy's mouth, like, that's not something that Lex would do. I think it is. I think when Lex Luthor's a character that's got a guy by the and he knows that this guy is literally eating out of the palm of his hand, that level of control, that's his power. That's the type of power that he wields. I thought he was a great character. I thought his performance was good. Like, I buy the mentality. I buy the anger. I buy the squirminess to have to equal out to the level and dedication that he has of manipulating others to get physical things done. I bought that in Eisenberg. I thought he was great. I wasn't lamenting or rolling my eyes about the stuff that he did. I thought he was a great character. I thought he, by far as put out on the live action format, was the most interesting Lex Luthor they had put out. More than the old Gene Hackman, I'm the world's greatest criminal mastermind, or, you know, Kevin Spacey, they just rehacked the same stuff trying to find some real estate. I thought Eisenberg was great. Yes, go after Superman. Destroy Superman. I am the savior of mankind. I want to wield that control. He was great. I enjoy the movie. Of course, I enjoy seeing Batman on film. And we're going to continue to see him more. In our next segment, we're going to talk about Suicide Squad. Batman will be making an appearance in that. And then we're going to talk a little bit later about future DC movies that are slated there. But if you watch the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, the extra footage in there doesn't necessarily it works maybe as far as pacing and adds a few different beats in there. And the really cool, there's a security camera footage of when Batman breaks into LexCorp to steal the kryptonite, of him going down and snatching a guy. As far as action-wise, that's the only thing that really happened. Everything else was just little other moments of, you know, Batman in the shower and Alfred. It's not a whole lot added, but for those that thought pacing was an issue, it kind of fills in those gaps. And it's just got a little bit extra to offer. But the problem that I had with the movie is I can see why people would be a little bit confused by it. That whole nightmare sequence is confusing. and when the Flash comes to him in a dream, it's confusing. So, well, it seems like a pretty long movie as it was already. There was a lot of exposition to, I mean, this movie's called Dawn of Justice, so it was a whole lot of stuff that had occurred for these little tiny moments that had alluded to the beginning of the Justice League. And that was really what the end of the movie was about. The end of the movie makes more reference, because in the nightmare sequence, they show the Omega sign, which is that of Darkseid. And that's really what Lex is kind of rambling about at the end, where the bell has been rung and it's been heard, and he's come, like it's building up towards this fight with Darkseid here in the future. And with the Flash showing up, I mean, possibly references to Injustice. So they're working on a lot of levels there, and I'm excited to see what happens for it. But mostly I was just excited to see Batman on film for the first time in a while and actually enjoy that Batman. And we got a lot more to talk about concerning the DC cinematic universe. This is the Golden State Media Concept Sci-Fi Podcast. We'll be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, everyone, we are back. It's the Golden State Media Concept Sci-Fi Podcast. We're talking about the DC Cinematic Universe. We just talked about Batman v Superman. Obviously, that was a sequel to Man of Steel, which kicked it all off. And then next year on the slate in early August, we have Suicide Squad coming out. I think this trick, or this play here with the Suicide Squad, was an attempt to give a broader sense of the universe without having to bring in too many big heroes that are going to have their own property here soon, but also to kind of be a little bit like that Guardians of the Galaxy type property, where not a lot of known guys that are coming in to make this legitimate film. The concept, very interesting. So when you start out, bam, we're going to start this out with Superman. Boom. Then the sequel comes, and it's Superman, and now we're going to introduce Batman, but we're going to introduce him in with Superman. Now we're going to make the next movie be a team of bad guys who are presumably part of this universe that Batman had already existed in. So when we see Batman come in Batman v Superman, he was kind of semi-retired. He had already been in the game for so long. He's been just 20 years in Gotham, so fighting crime for quite a long period of time. So these people that we're seeing in Suicide Squad are a part of that superhero world that really seemingly already existed before Superman came into the picture. And we see that with... really, when Suicide Squad, when the team was being formed, and there's been a lot of different variations of the Suicide Squad with a lot of Batman rogues. So Deadshot is a Batman rogue, and Killer Croc is a Batman rogue, and obviously Harley Quinn, and by extension the Joker who is not a member of the Suicide Squad but will be in this film, as everyone has seen the previews and the pics coming out with Jared Leto portraying the Joker. I'm on the fence a little bit. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it, but a lot of these characters being Batman villains, some of them being guys and gals that had existed in previous comics. They're kind of like C or D level villains that can get thrown into any title. But Boomerang, as he's just called in this one, Boomerang, played by Jai Courtney, or Captain Boomerang, as he's referred to in the comics. It's interesting because that's a Flash rogue. That is a guy that's really highly known as being a Flash villain that's going to be in Suicide Squad. So, is he a Flash villain in the movie? Because I don't know if any of you have read about what's been leaked about some of the scenes that have been filmed, or, you know, this possible script regarding the filming of Justice League right now, because Batman confronts the Flash and learns about him and his powers and who he is, but is Flash going to be an established superhero at the time? So there's still a lot of questions going on that, but as far as Suicide Squad and the production anyway, just going back to that. So we got quite a few of the Batman rogues in there. Rick Flag, who was originally supposed to be played by Tom Hardy, and then there was a scheduling conflict, and then it didn't work out. So they got Joel Kinnaman, they got RoboCop instead. Forms this team. There's maybe an alien force. We're really not sure from the previews what all it is they're trying to get at, and then the Joker obviously causes a lot of mischief involving for the team. Batman is going to be in it, as we've seen in the previews, of possibly not just him trying to stop the Joker in current time, but obviously we're going to see some flashbacks. We're going to see really like this origin of who Harley Quinn is, and maybe how it is she got caught. And the Joker, you know, in one of those sort of last hurrahs against Batman. So it's gonna be a dark film because it's about bad guys, and it's also going to have some street levelness to it that I think will bring back and ground a lot of what Batman's going to be doing in his own film. So Suicide Squad. It looks fun. Really, the trailers that they've been putting together for it, I think, have been fantastic. But the amount of ground they can cover by just going over these bad guys, I think, is really interesting. And we're looking at possibly a lot of references to the heroes that they fight, about whether they exist or not, coming from that. And there's one thing about this. There's David Ayer, the director, directed Fury, and that film came out about a year ago with Brad Pitt, and Scott Eastwood had a minor role in the movie, but he was in it. And Scott Eastwood is also in Suicide Squad. And simply because Scott Eastwood is becoming a bigger name, but is not part of the main cast, there was a lot of speculation on who Scott Eastwood is playing. So when they think that, a lot of people are like, oh, well, some are just thinking that it's just maybe he's buddies with David Ayer and he just asked him, hey, do you want to be in this movie? And here's a little part for you that I can get for you. And it's really nothing of consequence. Fine. Or you can use that face and that name and that talent that's on, you know, with the arrow pointed up to make him a character that is otherwise familiar. Because this movie's almost out. And if you go on IMDb, they still don't tell you who he's playing. It's just Scott Eastwood's in the movie. So there's speculation on, is he Slade Wilson? Or otherwise known as Deathstroke the Terminator. I think they just call him Deathstroke now. Or could he be Dick Grayson, working undercover as an operative for that to help with Batman? There's rumor abound about who Scott Eastwood is playing. And I'm hoping for a big payoff. I'm hoping it's not just like, yeah, he's in the movie for a couple minutes and he just plays one of the soldiers that helps Rick Flag out. I'm really hoping it's not something like that, because that would be lame. But so many rumors about this, about who he is, about other potential Easter eggs that are going to occur in the movie, and a lot being said, a lot being built around the Joker-Harley relationship. And a coworker of mine here, we talked about that, how we're uncomfortable with a lot of people using Harley and the Joker as sort of their avatar for their relationship, because like, oh, they're weird and they're strange, but they love each other. No, I think you're going to find out very significantly how the Joker and Harley relationship is one of manipulation and abuse, and is not a good example of any type of healthy relationship, no matter how weird you are. It's not about acceptance of those little things. I mean, she gets manipulated and brainwashed into basically in a level of, you could almost call slavery under the Joker, that now, at least in the comic book realm, they've recognized that that's the type of relationship that she has, but she's so popular that she's trying to get out of. Now, when she was first created by Paul Dini for the cartoon show, it was just really sort of to lighten the Joker, but they've gotten into such extent where their relationship, even in the cartoon before she became a comic sensation, or now in the film, that it really kind of bordered on that. You know, it was weird to see. It was easier to see him slap around a henchman, but it just kind of became really awkward to see him mistreat Harley Quinn, this person that does nothing but love and adore him. And so they started angling the show towards her trying to get away from him, and Batman trying to convince her that he's not good for her, and that he cares about nothing other than himself, and really go that route. And they're going to do that. I think you're going to see a lot of that presence here in Suicide Squad. So that comes out at the beginning of August. It's this next installment here of the DC Cinematic Universe. On our next one, we're going to talk a little bit about the other upcoming films, including Justice League and the individual superhero films. This is the Golden State Media Concept Sci-Fi Podcast. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, everybody, we are back. We were talking about the DC Cinematic Universe, and for what they've done, they still got a lot more planned, a lot more coming up. We just talked about Suicide Squad that's coming out here early August 5th. Then after that, it looks like the next thing we're going to see is the following summer. So Justice League Part 1 is going to be released here next year as well. So it's being made right now, and I think that. But the next one we're going to get is the Wonder Woman solo film, which will be interesting because it's an explanation of the picture from Batman v Superman. So it's not going to be contemporary, although there will be Gal Gadot. It will take place during the First World War, so it's going to be that origin story of hers when she's on Themyscira, and when Steve Trevor finds her and they go back and she's a part of the war effort. And then she probably just goes back home until she reemerges back in Metropolis. So that one's going to be coming out here next year in June. It's the solo Wonder Woman flick. And then in November of that year, so you won't have to wait too long. It's really that kind of separation between, Batman vs. Superman came out in March, and then we have Suicide Squad coming out in August. So that gap between there is really the same that we're going to see with Wonder Woman and Justice League. So that'll come out in June. Then we'll wait July, August, September, and then by that time, Wonder Woman will be coming out to buy or rent. You can get kind of refreshed on that, and then Justice League Part 1 comes out. Now, even though the the Batman vs Superman makes reference to in the nightmare sequence towards Darkseid. I don't believe he's going to be the bad guy in this one. I think it's more going to be Atlantis driven, so maybe Black Manta, stuff like that. There's going to be 5, so it's going to be the members you see. So it's going to be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Those are going to be in there, and as well as, it looks like, as I said before, the Flash. So there's going to be those 6 members of the team. Sorry about this. So 6. I said 5 before. So we're going to see those people team up. Now, it may not end up being just those members by the time that because this is a part 1, there may be more by the time that part 2 comes out. So we'll see how this movie goes, but it's already made allusion towards this team that's getting built up with Aquaman we saw, the Flash we saw in a couple of instances there, and then Cyborg, which a lot of people had to ask me about in that particular section of the movie. He was originally a Teen Titans character, but ever since they relaunched Justice League, they kind of made him one of these guys that's like a founding member of it whenever DC does one of their many relaunches. So that's coming out, and then we're going to see the Batman solo flick's going to come out. The Flash is going to get his own film, and then it all gets kind of blurry. Are we going to see Justice League Part 2 with Green Lantern involved? Because right now the slate has it to where the Green Lantern Corps, as it's going to be, that's not coming out till about 4 years from now. So is that the first time we're going to see Green Lantern? And I don't think they'll want to wait that long. So I'm going to assume that in either Flash they'll make reference, or in the Justice League they'll make reference. But I think by the time that Justice League Part 2 comes around, which will be about a year or two between the first Justice League movie, that the Green Lantern will get incorporated back into it and be a part of the fold. And then they're talking about Cyborg getting his own movie. We already know that Aquaman's getting his own. There's already a director. There's already a script. They're already working on it. Already problems. So he's going to get his own. I don't think Cyborg can really carry his own. I hope he doesn't get his own. I think he works in the confines of the film. I think it's like that sort of Black Widow situation. But talks to him, talks to Teen Titans. They've tried to make the Teen Titans a lot. They try to develop it into a series. They've talked about a movie. I'm hoping that this opens up the door. A lot of these other movies open up the door for that Teen Titan universe. I'd really like to see Dick Grayson return to the silver screen and have him, done justice. Sorry, Chris O'Donnell. And then we're looking at a lot of other properties. There's rumors about Booster Gold possibly and Blue Beetle. It's interesting to me going the route of Flash because of how successful and popular the TV show is, and they're willing to cross over and have a film Flash running while there's the TV show, but have not made mention yet of any involvement of the Green Arrow in the cinematic universe, despite its success in the television format. So who knows? And as well as also these other live action films that'll be coming out, DC continues to make some quality animated films as well. And this is something that obviously Marvel hasn't really needed to because they're raking it in with their live action stuff. But DC has made quite a reputation in making very good animated films. One of them being The Killing Joke that comes out here this month to buy or rent, but it's in celebration of this being the first rated R animated film that DC's doing. Fathom Events is putting it out into theaters for a limited time on the 25th. I got a ticket, me and a friend of mine, to go see it for my birthday. I'm very excited about it. And it was something that, again, is attributed to the fan base. It was something that maybe 3 weeks ago wasn't going to be available here where I'm at It was just going to be in select screens, but all of them were getting sold out. There was such a high demand that they decided to expand the number of screens they were going to put it on, which is really cool. I would much rather go to that Fathom event than to see the Metropolitan Opera perform whatever crap that they were going to do. So that's coming out on the 25th. They continue to make these great Justice League movies and Batman movies and all these other films that are pretty cool. Even a Suicide Squad. If you want to watch Attack on Arkham, if you want to get familiar with the team, you can watch that as well. So DC's going to keep busy just as Marvel is. They have a lot of characters. Shazam is another one that they're looking to do. They've been talking about it for a long time. In fact, they were talking about Shazam and Dwayne Johnson's involvement in that film, I believe, before even they were going to make Man of Steel. It had been talked about at least for the last 5-6 years. So we're going to see where they go from there because Dwayne Johnson's also going to be in Doc Savage, which we're going to a little bit more on here in the next couple of shows. But they want to expand their cinematic universe, albeit they're doing it in a very, very different way than Marvel is doing. But they like to keep these characters close to each other. I'm mostly excited for the solo Batman film. You know, I'm a huge Batman fan, but interesting to see what they're going to do as far as a Justice League film. And we know Scott Snyder is going to be doing part 1. They're making it right now, but will he be doing the second part? Who's going to take over for that particular thing? We know that Ben Affleck's wanting to direct or is going to direct the next Batman film, but some of these other projects, Wonder Woman had their first director leave. Aquaman, I think, had a director leave. The Flash has had a lot of problems. So there's a lot of room for skepticism as far as where these projects are going, but you know, hopefully that it gets worked out enough to where it's going to be viable. I'm pretty sure Snyder's going to stay on as producer a lot of these. I think they need to get rid of him and Goyer personally, but Goyer needs to go. Goyer needs to go. A lot of the complaints a lot of people will have about it, even with the Chris Nolan trilogy, it can stem from David Goyer. I'm telling you right now. Anyway, so they got a lot coming up here, and as we've gone through here, you can check out the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. You can buy or rent that. Suicide Squad August 5th comes out, and there's a whole lot more to come from DC. Thank you for listening to the show here today. I've had a great time talking with you. You can check us out on GSMCpodcast.com or on iTunes or any other place where you can get subscriptions to podcasts. You can follow us and check us out on Facebook and or Twitter, whatever your preference is. I've been Drew. You've been wonderful. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.